Ladies and gentlemen, the title of this video is how to get rich without losing your mind. Why is it that specifically? Because when you perform at such a high level for so long, you are bound to have some sort of burnout, some sort of mental implications of working that hard for that long. But the main way in which most entrepreneurs actually lose their mind is by getting overwhelmed. They work so much and they're unable to maintain the level of their sprint for long enough. And so they stop seeing those results. How do I know? I've consulted one-on-one with over 100 plus entrepreneurs. My company at this point has helped even more. And I'm going to tell you the biggest problems that I see with entrepreneurs that causes them to lose in the mind and then lose on the field. The first thing that you want to do is you want to weaponize your morning, just like all the 10 plus million founders. I have seen this across every single person who has taken our program, who has gone through our systems, that makes a shitload of money. They weaponize their mornings. They make sure that they're as distraction free as possible. The first thing that you need to do here is wake up at least at 6 a.m. The reason why you want to wake up this early, just like Elon Musk, for example, Elon Musk always starts at pre-dawn. The reason why you want to wake up this early is because when you wake up early, your team isn't awake, so nobody can distract you from working on the constraint of your business. When you wake up at 6 a.m., you at least have 3 hours before the normal workday begins. So nobody can ask you, hey, can you give me a go-ahead for this? Or can I have 5 minutes of your time? Because they're not even awake. Second thing, in the morning, you got to skip the phone, okay? So Jeff Bezos, for example, he avoids screens early to ensure that his morning is protected, especially when he was starting off with Amazon. He used to wake up early. Now I think he wakes up around 8 a.m. But before, he made sure that his phone wasn't distracting him from doing the work that mattered most. So again, this is just a principled principle. You want to make sure that there's no distractions, not on your phone, not on your laptop, when you have this period in the morning where you are working on the constraint of your business. Otherwise, you will lose your mind, literally lose your mind, putting out fires in your business all the time. And as I said before, entrepreneurs lose mentally before they lose in the field. There is a very ancient quote that goes, he who says he can and he who says he cannot are both correct. So again, it's all in the mental. Whether or not you win, it's mental. But when an entrepreneur is always putting out fires in the business and they're being pulled around by their team and they're retaliating, their day is reactive instead of proactive, then they lose in the mind because they look at their workday, they're working so many hours, but they're not actually making any more money. And the third thing you want to do is have structure, okay? If you want to weaponize your morning to not lose your mind while you get rich, make sure that you have at least 10 minutes of planning. This can be at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day for the next day. But you want to make sure that you've structured out your time for when you're actually going to work on the constraint of the business and when you're actually going to move the needle for your business. There's very few things that entrepreneurs do. I would say 10% of things that entrepreneurs do actually make them money. The other 90% is just bullshit that's put on their calendar so that they can pretend to work in front of their family. The second main point is you need to say no, literally like you're guarding a whole pile of cash. So imagine that there is a whole pile of gold back there. There's this little screen here, so I guess it's not really applicable. But you want to say no to opportunities like the one that you're currently pursuing is the biggest one you have. Steve Jobs has a very beautiful quote about this. He says, people think focusing is about saying yes to the ideas that you are working on. In fact, it is not. It is about saying no to all the other good ideas that could make you money. It's about all the money left on the table. It's about all the shiny objects. I could really start an AI company. I could start a partner company with my company. Oh, this agency is costing me a lot of money. Maybe I should just start the agency and blah, blah, blah. That shiny object that you have so little information on that you think is going to make you this much more money in this few amount of time is going to be the thing that kills the thing that you're actually doing right now. So if you don't want to lose your mind, become overwhelmed by starting new things, shiny objects all the time, you want to say no like you're guarding 10 million. First thing that you need to do is filter out opportunities. So Mark Cuban specifically rejects 90% of pitches. Why does he reject 90% of pitches? Because when you're going for something new, like a new opportunity, again, you either have an opportunity or a problem. Opportunity is something new. Problem is something that's existing at the current moment. These threaten the livelihood of your business. Problems threaten the livelihood of your business. Opportunities are new things that have potential outcome. It is always safer to go and solve problems as opposed to chasing new opportunities. But if you are going for new opportunities because you've maximized the ones that you have, like Mark Cuban, you need to say no to 90% of them because most of them are shiny objects anyways. So if you have multiple businesses, shut them down, filter out your opportunities. If you're trying to go after all these different client acquisition systems, close all of them except for one. Again, filter out, reject 90% of pitches. See it as a pitch, every single opportunity as a pitch for your business. Reject 90% of them, only take the 10%, give them all your effort and watch them scale. Second subpoint is you need to protect your hours. So Bill Gates, ironically, Bill Gates gates his deep work. What does that mean? That means that nobody is allowed to interrupt him in the time that he works. No meetings, no nothing. He's working on the constraint of the business, which again, if you combine with the first point, which is weaponizing your mornings, you can do that so effectively. Again, no meetings scheduled in the middle. I have this huge block of time. You guard it. You say no to everything else. People say, hey, you got a minute? Hey, can I have a quick little meeting with you? Hey, can we discuss an opportunity? No, no, no. This is how the top entrepreneurs operate. And this is how you don't lose your mind by saying yes to everybody and then being pulled around because your focus becomes a commodity. You chop it up and you pass it out. Hey, you get my focus. You get my focus. You get my focus. You become a focus whore. So again, protect your hours. Third thing, automate your decisions. Jobs wore one outfit every single day. That little turtleneck, that's all he wore every single day. Why? Decision fatigue. He didn't want in any way, shape, or form for the decision, oh, what do I have to wear today? Opens the closet, 10, 12 different things. Bezos says he only makes or tries to make 3 decisions. You don't want to make low IQ decisions. That's what Bezos calls it. You don't want to be making all these mundane little yeses, okay? You want to only make sure that you say yes and make decisions on the most important things. I see entrepreneurs that make the biggest decisions, don't even want to decide where they want to eat. I struggle with this. If somebody asks me, hey, what do you want to order? I usually tell the waiter, just get whatever the fuck you want. What do you like? Just get it. I don't want to think about it. It's because the entrepreneurs that operate at the highest level hate thinking about the mundane because they reserve the quality of their decisions for the most impactful, highest leverage decisions. Everything else in their view is useless and needs to be eliminated. As the quantity of your decisions goes up, the quality of your decisions decreases. So as the quantity comes down, transitively, the quality goes up. You want to minimize the amount of decisions, even little ones like what you wear and what time you wake up and what you have to do for the day. That's why planning out your day is so important. Third main point, you need to scale your business and your brain like a machine. Again, most of the times when an entrepreneur is stuck with their business, it's not the market, it's not the TAM, it's not the target addressable market, it's not the niche they're in, it's not the fact that they've sold to everybody out there. This is such a funny one. So all these lies that entrepreneurs tell themselves, oh, it's the niche, it's the market, I need to change. Like, again, the main bottleneck for most businesses is not the mechanism, it's not the service, it's the entrepreneur. Yes, of course, your ad spend, the amount of closers you have, your KPIs, all these things matter. But at the end of the day, who's gonna fix them? You. So if you are not optimized, then what the hell is the business gonna be? And if you're losing your mind, then you're never gonna be able to get anywhere because your mind hasn't refined itself to the point where it can manage the business. You build the business. The business doesn't build you. So you need to be optimized for the business. The business doesn't need to be optimized for you. So again, here, you want to have one kingpin skill. If you want to scale your brain like a machine to scale your business, then you need to have one main skill. Like for example, Bezos mastered cloud tech, okay? You want to have one main gap that you personally close in the market. That skill makes you valuable, and that skill is what you purport for your company. So for example, if you're a great marketer, stop doing delivery in your business. Go do marketing. That kingpin skill is what you should do. Your brain, once it gets refined over time, and once you actually, after repetition, get as good at that skill as possible, you will become invaluable at that skill. Do that instead of chasing 2 different skills at the same time where you're not going to be good at either because you're chasing 2 rabbits and the man who chases 2 rabbits ends up catching neither. Second thing, if you want to scale your brain like a machine, if you want to keep it sharp, and if you want to scale your business without losing your mind, You need to network smart. The reason why you're having a network is so important is because let me tell you something. Entrepreneurs are not special. Okay. If you knew me personally, I mean, you might not think I'm special already, but heck, if you knew me personally, you'd know the bad habits that I have. When you surround yourself with entrepreneurs and when you make a positive effort to do so, like there's Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, still cold emails giants. You can find a mentor on LinkedIn, anybody who is in the same position as you or people that are ahead of you. These people break beliefs for you. You think, oh, I need to do this to make money. No, I need to stop drinking to make money. I do not endorse drinking, never had a drink in my life to my knowledge. But there's people, like for example, Alexander the Great, they say he conquered the world drunk. So again, when you see it with your eyes, you're like, this person isn't exceptional. It makes your brain realize through the breaking of that belief that it's absolutely possible and it keeps you sane. Otherwise, when you're isolating yourself, when you're not networking, you lose your mind because you don't even know you don't even know what's going on. You don't know what your competitors are doing. You don't know what people ahead of you are doing. You don't know what people at your same level are doing. And at one level, this is just a psychological necessity, just the existence of a social sphere, right? It fulfills that craving in the mind for social interaction, right? Celebrating your wins, going over them, seeing what's possible in the future, refining your vision. But again, networking is how you turn your brain into a machine because it breaks beliefs for you. And the third sub point is sleep. If you want your brain to be as optimized as possible, and again, it is you and your brain ultimately that will scale your business, then you cannot make biology your enemy. Do not make biology your enemy. Richard Branson literally naps to get more clarity. Why does he do that? Because he understands that biologically, empirically, scientifically, you can't sleep for 4 or 5 hours, watch a David Goggins video about how you're a hard motherfucker. Not in that way, in the other way, you're mentally hard. And so just go on with your day. Your decisions are going to be low quality. Your hourly work is going to be low quality. Your output is going to be low quality. Again, there's very few people that biologically, and don't tell yourself it's you, it's a lie. There are very few people that can biologically function on minimal sleep. You do not want to be one of these people, and you don't want to pretend that you're one of these people. So hit the bed by 10:30 p.m. Otherwise, if you're going to be a night owl and a day owl, you're going to lose your mind. This is like one of the biggest precursors to schizophrenia is insomnia, lack of sleep. Again, your screens, ditch them, right? Around 9 to 9:30, make sure that you're not doing any of that stuff. You're just focused on getting your rest. You need to recharge your brain just like you recharge your phone, just like you recharge all your devices so that your brain is optimized to scale your business. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is how you scale your business without losing your mind. If you like the video, comment your thoughts down below. This is what I want you to do. I want you to comment what you'll actually take action on because I know what happens. Most people watch these videos. They don't actually take any action. They're like, interesting. Wow, profound. But they don't actually do anything. They don't do shit. So actually be the 1% that takes action and changes their life because I'm telling you, these habits compound over time and they are literally one of the quickest not the quickest, I won't say the quickest. They are the heaviest compounding factor, your habits, right? The little things that you do on a day-to-day. And eventually they will make sure that your mind is optimized by the end or later on in your career or your journey as an entrepreneur. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your mind being sane, your mind being as sharp as possible is the biggest advantage that you can personally have over any other entrepreneur. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.